What I'm about to share on this video has taken me 5 long years to figure out. And on this video, I'm going to share it with you. Why? Just because I want to help you on your way. Because at times it's been tough, I can't lie. At times it's been tricky. I've made mistakes and I've got this particular issue all wrong. And it's very costly, very time consuming. And actually, what it does is it really inhibits your ability to scale effectively. So if that sounds good, you're in the right place, hit the subscribe button. So when you're scaling a property management business, when you're scaling any business, one of the biggest things you need to overcome is how do you leverage other people so that you're not just giving yourself another job? And why rent to rent is hard and most people fail is because if you think about it, every rent to rent is its own little business. Every property has its own address, its own implications, its own bin days, its own amenities, a roof, a boiler, etc., etc. So what this means is that if you was to set up one restaurant, no problem. If I was to give you 20, big problem, because you've got so many places to be at once. So when I started, I was doing it all myself, and that was fine for the first sort of 5 to 10 deals, probably 10, when friends and family started to help out a little bit. But then when I got to 10, I hired one assistant property manager, and that was great. You know, she helped, she came on board, she was doing a bit of everything, and that was all good. But then what happened was, as we then implemented service accommodation, we got more and more people involved. And at one point at the peak, we actually had 12 people in my rent to rent business. I was doing daily meetings, morning meetings. I had an SA team, a HMO team. I had a front of office HMO, a back of office HMO. So front of office would do all the viewings. They would do all the inspections, the images, all the front of house on the road stuff, property setups. And then the back office, they would do all the admin, the rent chasing, the maintenance issues. They would do all that stuff. So what would happen is, as I began to scale and scale and scale, I was the CEO. So these people would all report to me and I would be the one that had to tie it all together. And it was an absolute nightmare to manage. And now I've realized there's a key. You don't want to be on your own, because that's not good leverage, and you know, you're not going to be able to expand beyond that. But you don't want too many people either, because then you go from property and tenant problems to staff problems. Here's the Holy Grail. When you go to 10 properties, you want to hire a property manager that manages 360 degrees of that portfolio. The good news is you can then remove yourself slowly, give them all responsibility, so they just check in and report back to you maybe once a week. And what I would encourage you to do is have a weekly meeting, and unless something is extremely urgent, make them wait for that weekly meeting to go through everything. Most things can wait, rather than them just going through everything with you as it happens every day, every single day. Because what happens is it starts to become overwhelming and you start to end up getting dragged back into the business. Okay, really key. So you'd have a weekly meeting, and the good news is, by the way, is once you've got that person, let's say you're earning 10 grand a month and you pay them 2 grand, still making 8, they can probably manage roughly up to 20 properties. Now their salary will stay the same, but your income can double. So when you're paying them 2 grand out of your 10, that's 20%. When you're paying them 2 grand out of your 20, that's only 10%. And I would just incentivize them by slightly increasing their salary as their property portfolio increases. Once you get to 20, guess what? You then hire a second property manager and do the same again and again and again. But one thing I would really pay attention to here is there are different ways of scaling your rent to rent business or property business or any business. But do me a favor, because in rent to rent, the main way of scaling is adding properties, please optimize each property before moving on, or at least be prepared to do so, because it's not until you maximize your current portfolio, and of course, I talked about this in another video, and you stop scaling so that you stop spending out, which means you can save more money, which means you can then put that to the side for BRRs to reinvest in cash flow tomorrow. You will be caught in a trap, and we don't want to be caught in the rent-to-rent rat race. Yep, that's what I'm calling it. The rent-to-rent rat race is when you just replace your income and you get another job and there's no end in sight, and you've not put in the provisions in place to actually get this cash flow tomorrow. So, hope I've saved you 5 years. If you follow this, trust me, you can make this passive. I really, really wish you all the best. If you're brand new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you follow me on Instagram @SimonSmithOnline. And whatever you do, don't wait 25 years, start today.